Oftentimes, when I'm looking at the quarterly lineup of new anime, I glaze over the list and just see the same old type of show that's been airing a million times over. Mostly another isekai with some slight tweak, or an average battle anime. But sometimes there's shows that don't immediately stand out to me, and are instead recommended through word of mouth, and when I hear the same show being echoed again and again, I get curious and feel I have to give it a shot. And this was the case with last season's Odd Taxi. Hi my friends, I'm Mike and welcome to the Lion's Lounge. Today we'll be talking about the 2021 anime Odd Taxi, and why I think you should give it a watch if you've never heard of it or have been sleeping on it up to now. And at the end, I'll be making a cocktail that came to mind from my experience with the show. Now, first off, what is Odd Taxi? Well, you've probably already noticed that it features a wide cast of anthropomorphized animals. And while the art style is initially a little strange, I quickly got used to it and actually really enjoyed how the creators used it to their advantage. As for the story, the closest series I can compare it to is Durarara, in that there is a diverse cast of characters you're introduced to that initially seem random, but find as the series goes on that they're actually in some way involved with each other and the greater narrative. This narrative itself centers around the walrus taxi driver Odokawa, who's introduced to these other characters as his passengers. When we first meet Odokawa, we immediately notice he has trouble sleeping, and regularly visits his doctor and friend Goriki, a gorilla, as it's clear Odokawa suffers from trauma brought about from being orphaned at a young age. It's through Goriki that Odokawa meets the nurse Shirakawa, an alpaca who takes an interest in the taxi driver. And from this, he slowly becomes embroiled in a mystery involving a missing idol singer and an attempted heist by a feared Yakuza member, Dobu. Now, this is just a rough plot synopsis, mainly because I want you to experience this series for yourself and don't want to spoil too much. However, there is a character introduced in episode 4 that I want to quickly talk about, as he plays a key role in the rest of the show, and was the inspiration for the cocktail I'll be making. So if you want to completely avoid spoilers, I highly recommend you check out this series, and you can skip to the timecode in the description below where I'll be making my cocktail. The first 3 episodes of Odd Taxi, you're mostly following Odokawa as he and you, the viewer, meet the cast. But episode 4 opens with a completely new character that you stay with for its entirety. This being Tanaka, a puma who works as a game developer. We find Tanaka toiling each day away in boredom, until he becomes hooked on a mobile gacha game to obtain an ultra-rare dodo. We then are shown a flashback of when Tanaka was a child and lost 100,000 yen in a scam, and learn of his history with a gambling addiction. Fast forward back to present day, and after wasting large sums of money and time, he finally obtains the dodo, only to have his phone damaged while avoiding being hit by a speeding Odokawa, causing Tanaka to spiral out of control and obtain a gun stolen from Dobu with the intent to murder Odokawa. And it's the way that the series seamlessly weaves this side story into the main plot that makes it so interesting. In terms of cons, there aren't many, honestly. The animation is a little limited, but they make great use of what they have, and because the dialogue is so engaging, I was never bored. I will also say that despite its cute appearance using animals as the characters, it does explore some dark topics like murder, suicide, physical abuse, and mental health. It's one of the few anime I've seen that tackles subjects like gambling addictions exacerbated by gacha games, as well as mental illness, Odokawa's own trauma playing a huge part in the story. Overall, I highly recommend you check out this series if you're into character-driven narratives with a diverse cast. This is a show I know a lot of people are talking about now, and for good reason, as it deserves all the praise it's getting. So finally, on to today's drink, and for this one, I knew I wanted to make a Nightcap, a cocktail that helps wind you down so you can sleep peacefully, something Odokawa struggles with throughout the series. And doing a little research, I found the perfect one. This is called the Smoking Pistol and contains various liquor like scotch, rye whiskey, herbal liqueur, and even a cognac variation, which I thought was interesting finding a nightcap with this name considering Odokawa is constantly hunted throughout the series. So this is gonna be a stirred drink, and you're gonna start with 3/4 of an ounce or 22.5 milliliters of a blended scotch. I'm using Jane Walker, which has notes of chocolate. Next, 3/4 of an ounce or 22.5 milliliters of Carpano Antica sweet vermouth. Then 1/2 ounce or 15 milliliters of a rye whiskey. Next, just 1/4 ounce or 7.5 milliliters of Armagnac. This is a cognac variation. Then a Barspoon of Benadictine. This is an herbal liqueur. Next, 2 dashes of Peychaud's bitters. And lastly, just a dash of Angostura bitters. Add some ice and stir for about 30 to 40 seconds. Then add a big cube to a double old-fashioned glass and strain into the glass. And for garnish, I'm gonna use a lemon peel. And there you have the smoking pistol. Cheers. Ooh, that's not quite what I thought it was gonna be like. This is a really interesting cocktail because there's a lot of flavors going on. Initially, I get the sweet vermouth as well as some herbalness from the Benedictine and the various bitters. And then comes just a bit of sweetness from the rye whiskey and the Armagnac. And then at the very end, I get some subtle chocolate notes, most likely from this specific scotch that I picked. If you choose a different blended scotch, chances are you might get a different experience than what I'm currently getting. But I kind of figured as a nightcap, I want to incorporate sort of some desserty notes here. And I also thought that this blended scotch would pair well with the rye whiskey and the Armagnac. Yeah, overall, this is a lot more bitter than it is sweet, and you do get the lemon up front, but it very quickly vanishes into bitterness. If you're into bitter cocktails, you'll probably like this one a lot. I tend to stay away from bitter cocktails, honestly, but this one is pretty approachable. Overall, as a nightcap, I can already feel all the different types of spirits in this. There's no juices, so this one is pretty strong and will most likely put you to sleep. So if you're looking for a good way to end your night, I recommend this one. So today we talked about the new anime series Odd Taxi, and then made a nightcap, the Smoking Pistol, for it. Again, I can't recommend the series enough, especially if you like a mystery and a lot of interweaving stories. The series is only 13 episodes long, and you can check it out on Crunchyroll, who is not a sponsor of this channel, but that's how I viewed it. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. If you have any other cocktails you'd like me to make from your favorite series, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see what I make outside this channel, follow me on Twitter at Mr. Spacelion or Instagram at Mr.Spacelion. But friends, thank you so much for stopping by the Lions Lounge. I've been your bartender, Mike, and I hope to see you next time.